First of all, let's just start with this. It's an incredible playoff.
Yeah.
This is
especially the matchup you claim is going to be a blowout.
Clemson, Ohio State. I am so excited. I'm having a second Corona. I've already ordered it. I like Clemson. I think we're falling into this nonsense. Well, I mean, who have they played? 5 SEC teams in 2 years and boat race most and never had a trouble scoring against any of them. Ohio State has not seen Clemson's speed. And by the way, the last time they did, it was awful.
Yes, to a large extent, everything that you said is true. I wouldn't say I think that you give the entirety of the SEC too much credit, right? Like A&M is not a great team. You saw what LSU did at A&M late in the season. You saw what South Carolina was. South Carolina was not a great team this year at all. And Clemson has not been tested. They have not been tested at all. And in fact, when you look at Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback, he is a great player. And in the last 6 games, there might not be another quarterback playing better than he is in the last 6. I know that's heresy with Joe Burrow out there, but 20 touchdowns, no interceptions. Oh. The problem is that if you actually average out the pass defense that he faced for the entirety of the season, do you know what you get on average?
What?
The 81st pass defense in the country.
And they're blowing them out by 50.
Which they should. Which they absolutely should. By the way, Ohio State has been blowing people out as well. Let's not make this out to be like Ohio State squeaked by a Big Ten and Clemson's been the big bad, wolf on the block. That's not entirely true. In fact, the point differential this year total for Ohio State is 470, plus 470. That's greater than the average margin, not average. That's greater than the overall margin for Clemson, who's plus 467. So Ohio State has been bludgeoning teams just like Clemson has. The only difference is Ohio State has been doing it against ranked teams, in particular in the last 3 weeks. I would just give you this for food for thought.
I wonder why Clemson's a favorite.
Yeah, but listen, a coin flip favorite, basically a point, 2 points here or there, and I think it's a really tough pick. I'm not trying to just sit here and convince people to pick Ohio State because I think it's going to be an incredible game. I would tell you, though, that imagine the sentiment surrounding Clemson or LSU or any SEC team or any ACC team that went through this gauntlet at the end of the year. If you saw an SEC team face 3 straight top 15 opponents and beat every single one by double digits, they would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. They would. They would. That's how college football works. That's why the narrative is broken, is because Ohio State was never given the credit they deserve for their last 3 games like other teams would be given. I would just tell you this, that I think it's going to be an unbelievable game. I really do.
Okay, now let's shift to this one. We got some good stuff here. I think Oklahoma is going to push back on LSU. I've seen this before. Coach wins Coach of the Year, Ed Orgeron.
Heisman.
Joe Burrow wins the Heisman.
Thorpe
Oklahoma's
Award.
being told for a month and a half. Big 12. I saw Oklahoma go up against Alabama. I've seen them go up against Georgia, and they move the ball against both. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's a great NFL prospect, but he can run and burn you. He's not the great thrower, but in their schemes, they have a receiver that's arguably the best receiver in the country. I think Oklahoma is going to score a lot. Now, I think LSU's better. But if you sat there for 5 weeks and heard how bad you were,
sure.
And Oklahoma's defense last year was awful. It's not awful this year.
No, it's not. They're more aggressive. I think that they're better suited, but I do think that they need to be off the field. They can't sit there and face 65, 70 snaps of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's too good for that, right? So I think that Oklahoma's best chance is to be in the mode that they were the entire back half of the season. Since they lost to Kansas State, they were averaging 50 rushing attempts per game.
Yep.
Per game. And a lot of that was Hurts himself, and he's going to have to be a huge workhorse in this game as well. Lincoln Riley's offense this year is running the football.
That's right.
It is a run-first offense, and if they can keep Burrow off the field, I think they do have a chance. I would say, though, their suspension, Ronnie Perkins, the defensive lineman.
He's a good player.
He's a good player. He provides some speed, and they've been so hit or miss as far as pressuring the quarterback. 9 sacks against Texas, 5 against Baylor in the Big 12 championship game. In between then, they would go weeks without a sack, 3-4 straight weeks without a sack. If they are not in Joe Burrow's face, and if they have to see more than 65 snaps, they will lose by 2 touchdowns in this game. But if they can keep Burrow on the sideline, run the football about 50 to 55 times, and put pressure in Burrow's face at times, then they've got a shot.
And by the way, it's not like LSU's defense didn't have issues. They gave up a lot of big plays.
That's right.
A lot. This is not your typical. The SEC is changing. Bama can't stop anybody. LSU's defense. This is not SEC 4 years ago. It's like the NFL. The world's changing fast in football.
I think LSU is a matchup problem. Here's why. Because if you look at the top 2 quarterbacks running the ball, Colin, and Power 5, guess who it is? Plumlee from Ole Miss, Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma. What did Ole Miss do to LSU?
Gashed them
with the run, and specifically the quarterback run.
Yeah.
I would be a touch worried if I was LSU about that quarterback run element of Oklahoma's offense. Now, I'm picking LSU in this game. And like I said, Joe Burrow will not be stopped. But I hate agreeing with you. I really do. Yeah. There's an element of this that I do think it's going to be a little closer than people think. Yeah. Because, and this is another part, when you give Lincoln Riley a month, he will figure you out. And they moved the ball in both of their last playoff losses, and I think they'll move the ball again.
Hey, NASA doesn't like to agree with Elon Musk. Well, when a genius is a genius.
Sometimes they have to.
Yeah, we can do. A lot of stuff's coming out of this mouth. It's brilliant. All right, let's go to, listen.
A lot of times all I see you is throw rocks through windows in your Tesla truck.
Anyway. Cheap shot's fine. It's holiday season. I was going to scale back on that.
Well, you compared yourself to Elon. He's the one throwing the steel ball through the window.
Anyway, his truck didn't sell nothing. Nobody liked that truck.
Well, why'd you compare yourself to him then?
Smart.
It's a bad analogy.
Anyway.
And then you just ripped on him. You compared yourself to him, and then you ripped on him. I don't understand.
Okay. I am the voice of USC nationally.
You are?
Yeah, without question. So I'm the guy.
Are you taking a lot of arrows?
Okay. All I'm saying is I'm the one national guy that when you say USC, I'm the national guy that talks about them a lot. I've quit talking about them in the last 2 years because they're now a regional program.
Yeah, they're irrelevant nationally.
Okay, they just finished 12th out of 12 Pac-10 teams.
Pac-12 teams, yes.
Pac-12 teams. How did that land for you?
Shocking. There's only 3, maybe 4 schools in the country. Think about it. That can recruit a top 15 class without getting on an airplane.
Miami,
Texas, and maybe not even Texas because they've got to get to Houston. They've got to get to Dallas. Let's take them off. Miami, USC, and maybe Georgia.
Yeah, I think Georgia. Long car drive, but Georgia.
Long car. Everybody else has to get on an airplane.
And convince kids to come to my place.
And USC finishes 12th in a conference with Oregon State and Washington State. Washington State is in Pullman.
Yeah.
Folks, like this is the low point. I would make an argument, and I think it's a strong argument, that this recruiting class is a bigger disaster for USC than any loss they've ever suffered on the field. This is going to have ramifications for years. And it's not just Clay Helton's fault. He certainly is going to have to accept a lot of responsibility for this because he's got to recruit the kids himself, and he's got to hire a staff that can recruit. And I think that's been a big failure of his over the last year.
Apathetic staff. I was told 3 years ago by somebody in the recruiting business they were disorganized. They were behind on kids. It is a staff of apathetic, disinterested recruiters.
Think about it. 3 schools in the country that don't have to get on an airplane and can have a top 15 class, maybe top 10 class, and USC is one of those, and they finished 12th out of 12. Another thing that I would also say is, because I don't think that this sector can go uncriticized in this conversation, the administration and hierarchy at USC has been a total failure for their football program. And I understand that they've got probably 55 issues, or if they had 55 issues at their university, their football program right now is probably number 50 in terms of where to get to on a list. They've got the college admission scandal, which involves their athletic department. They've paid out, by the way, they've paid out $500 million in settlements as a university based on all the scandals that they were going through outside of the athletic department. But the bottom line is this. If your president wants to commit to having a good football program, you will have a good football program, and you will make the moves and choices necessary in order to make that happen. This has been a total disaster, from the AD hiring to now rolling out, we're going to stick with Clay. If you're going to stick with Clay, do it in September so he can recruit. You do it 2 weeks, a week before the signing day? What are USC? Like, what are you doing? This has been an abject failure of administration and leadership at USC. It's crazy.
Joel Klatt, Urban Meyer, Matt Leinart tonight. FS1 College Football Playoff Preview Show at 11 Eastern on FS1. All jacked up for that. Happy holidays to my man Joel Klatt. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.